Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In Soaps.com's latest The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers for Monday, September 1 through Friday, September 5, Taylor wants to move full steam ahead toward a wedding, which probably won't happen. Will and Electra take the plunge between the sheets, and Thomas returns with one thing on his mind, and shockingly, it isn't hope. Read on for all the details. Bold and beautiful spoilers for the week of September 1. Will and Electra express their love for one another and decide that that very night will be the one they have sex for the first time. Sheila might as well be trying to convince a bird not to fly or a fish not to swim when she attempts to talk sense into Luna. The Liam, Hope, Carter triangle heats up, and her other ex isn't even in the mix until Tuesday. Thomas returns to LA excited about Ridge and Taylor's upcoming nuptials. But what about his own wedding to Paris? Is that still happening? 2 seconds later, Thomas is ticked about Brooke's efforts to win back Ridge and tells her in no uncertain terms to stay out of mommy and daddy's affairs. At incalculably great risk, Lai continues to hide Luna and reprimand her for her reckless behavior. This has to be an even bigger crime than the one Grace committed, right? Katie has a heart-to-heart with Brooke during which she insists that her sister must come clean to Taylor. Seems like old times as a father-son battle takes shape between Ridge and Thomas. As Lai grows suspicious of Luna's absences, might we suggest it's time to lock her in? Handcuff her to the bed? Something? Irk urges Ridge not to base his future on Thomas or Steffi, insisting to the waffler that Brooke is the woman that he really wants. Perhaps sensing that her ship is sinking, Taylor pushes to set a wedding date ASAP. Bold and beautiful spoilers for Friday, September 5. If Ridge doesn't know which way this is all headed, he's the only one, yet he's conflicted over his feelings for Brooke, and haunted by Irk's words, "Just rip off the Band-Aid, dude." Irk remains skeptical when he and Thomas compare notes about his parents and Brooke. While you're here, RSVP yes to Annika Noel's bachelorette party and vicariously attend the blowout for Hope's portrayer via the fun-filled photo gallery below. The Forrester mansion was bathed in the golden glow of late afternoon, but inside, tension simmered hotter than the California sun. September had arrived, but instead of ushering in fresh starts, the day promised heartbreak, confrontations, and shocking revelations that would ripple through the lives of Los Angeles's most glamorous families. Brooke's ultimatum. Brooke Logan had always been a woman who knew what she wanted, and on this day her patience had run out. Ridge Forrester sat across from her in the living room, the weight of decades of love, betrayal, and reconciliation pressing down on them like a storm cloud. "Ridge, I can't do this dance anymore," Brooke declared, her voice trembling but firm. "You need to decide where your heart truly lies, whether it's with me or with Taylor. I won't be your safety net. Not anymore." Ridge rubbed his temples, torn between two women who defined his life. Taylor had been his confidant, his safe harbor. But Brooke was fire and passion, the very essence of who he was. The ultimatum hung in the air, like a blade. Brooke's eyes searched his, demanding clarity, but Ridge remained silent. His hesitation stung, and Brooke rose to her feet, her heart breaking even as she stood taller. "You have until the end of today, Ridge," she whispered. "After that, I walk away." Luna fixated on Finn. Meanwhile, at the Cliff House, Luna's obsession was spiraling out of control. She had convinced herself that Dr. John Finn Finnegan wasn't just Steffi's husband, he was her destiny. Every glance, every accidental touch in the hospital corridors replayed in her mind like proof of fate. Today she stood outside Finn and Steffi's home, her heart pounding. From the window she saw Finn laughing with his daughter Kelly, and her chest tightened. That should have been me. When Steffi left briefly to run an errand, Luna seized the opportunity. She knocked on the door, feigning innocence. Finn, ever kind, welcomed her in. "I was just in the neighborhood," Luna said, her voice honey-sweet, but her eyes burning with something deeper. "I thought I'd check in on you. After everything with Sheila, you must be under a lot of stress." Finn smiled politely, but unease flickered in his gaze. He couldn't quite put his finger on it, but Luna's presence unsettled him. She lingered too close, her hand brushing his arm just a little too long. "Luna, I appreciate the concern," Finn said carefully, "but I'm fine." Steffi and I, we're stronger than ever." The words were meant to reassure, but for Luna, they were a challenge. In her mind, Steffi was an obstacle she believed could be removed. Will's dilemma. At Spencer Publications, Will Stencer was struggling with his own turmoil. Katie had given him advice earlier that day, advice that felt more like a burden than guidance. "Follow your heart, Will," Katie had said, her eyes filled with motherly concern. "Even if it means hurting someone you care about." Now, as he sat in his office, Will couldn't shake the words. His feelings for Electra were undeniable, electric even, but pursuing her meant betraying someone close. The guilt gnawed at him, but the temptation was too strong. Electra had stopped by to drop off campaign concepts for a new Spencer initiative. As she leaned over his desk, their eyes met and the air thickened. "Will," she whispered, almost daring him, "you've been distant. Is something wrong?" Will swallowed hard, torn between restraint and desire. Katie's words echoed in his mind. "Follow your heart, even if it means hurting someone." In that moment, Will leaned in, the world outside his office fading away. Sheila's desperation. Elsewhere, Sheila Carter was pacing in Deacon Sharp's apartment, her mind unraveling with desperation. She had clawed her way back into Deacon's life, convincing him that their love was worth saving. But now, whispers swirled that her secret, her hand in Luna's growing instability, might surface. "Sheila, you need to stay calm," Deacon urged. His voice steady but his eyes wary. "If anyone finds out you've been meddling with Luna, everything we've built will crumble." Sheila's eyes flashed with fear and fury. "I did it for us, Deacon. Luna is the key. If she pulls Finn away from Steffi, it gives me leverage. It keeps me in the game." Deacon shook his head. "Or it blows everything up in your face." Sheila sank onto the couch, her hands trembling. For once, the notorious Sheila Carter didn't look like the fearless villain. She looked like a woman on the edge of losing everything. The gathering storm. By evening, the major players were each standing at a crossroads. Brooke waited anxiously for Ridge's decision, her heart fragile but her resolve unshakable. Ridge wrestled with the impossible choice between two women he loved in different ways. Luna's fixation on Finn deepened, her obsession driving her closer to a dangerous edge. Will inched closer to betraying his principles in the name of desire. Sheila plotted in shadows, her schemes threatening to implode. The bold and the beautiful had always thrived on love triangles, betrayals, and shocking twists, but September 1 promised something more. A storm was gathering, one that could shatter alliances and expose secrets long buried. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the cliffhouse lights glowed against the darkening sky. Inside, Finn kissed Steffi's cheek, unaware that Luna lingered outside once more, watching, plotting. At the Forrester mansion, Brooke stood before the fireplace, her eyes glistening, as Ridge approached. Would he choose her? Or would this be the moment he let her go for good? And across town, Will and Electra teetered on the brink of passion, one kiss away from changing everything. The stage was set. Hearts would break, loyalties would be tested, and by the end of the night, nothing in Los Angeles's most glamorous circles would ever be the same.